Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy. Today I'm going to show you how you can take your filament poop waste from your Bambu Lab AMS Lite, AMS, or Anycubic Ace Pro and turn them into cool multicolor spinning tops just like this. I'm going to tell you everything that you need to do, and I'm going to show you how I was able to do this as well. Now, first of all, you're going to need the file that serves as the mold for these spinning tops. I'll leave a link in the description where you can find it. It was over on Maker World. It comes in 3 different parts. You can print them all at the same time. No supports necessary. And I printed mine out of PETG filament. After that, you're going to need something to melt the filament in. I used an old air fryer that I'm no longer using for food. It is the original Ninja Foodie. It is old, it is reliable, and I still love it. And now it serves as a way to melt my filament. So I use that. And then another thing that you're going to need, a pair of pliers or just something that you can get your hands on that can serve as pinchers. You can use scissors or whatever you might have handy. And you're also going to need, I recommend, a silicone mold of some kind. And you're going to need a little scale so that you can measure the filament. So take your little filament balls, put it on the scale, and you're going to measure out 6 grams of filament balls. And then when you do that, you'll be able to put them inside of that silicone mold. The reason why the silicone mold is very, very important and very helpful is because when that filament gets really molten and hot, it's not going to bond to the silicone. It's not going to really stick to it too badly. So you'll be able to easily grab it with a pair of pliers or scissors and pull it off. If you try to do this on like a metal baking sheet or something like that, or aluminum foil, it's going to stick to it really, really good, and you're going to have a hard time getting it off. And this filament, it hardens relatively quickly, so you want to be able to get into the mold as soon as you possibly can in order to get the best possible spinning top out of it. So after I measured out my filament, I put it inside of the mold and I preheated that air fryer at 400 degrees for about 4 or 5 minutes. Then I took a piece of aluminum foil, I folded it up and I put it underneath the silicone mold just because I just didn't want the mold to come into direct contact with the hot surface. Probably don't need to do that, but that's just what I did. But since the fan in air fryers can be pretty powerful, I needed to weigh down the mold and I need to weigh down the aluminum foil in order to prevent the fan from blowing everything around. So for that, I used a regular old metal butter knife. I let the filament sit inside of that air fryer for around 5 to 7 minutes. I peeked in on it from time to time to see how molten it had gotten. And when I was satisfied with how liquidy it became, I took it out with the pliers. Now at this point, everything is very hot. If you have heat resistant gloves, now would be a really good time to use it. So I took it out with the pliers and I had a pair of scissors to sort of weigh it down, because even though the filament doesn't stick really badly to the silicone, it does still stick. So I needed leverage. So by holding it down on one side with the scissors, I was able to peel it up with the pliers in my other hand and form it roughly into a ball as quickly as possible because it hardens relatively quickly. I then was able to put it inside of the mold and press the mold closed and put some pressure on it in order to really get that filament to seep into the tiny little hole that's going to serve as the tall peak on the spinning top. And then you can leave it there for around 3 to 5 minutes. You can actually feel the warmth inside the mold as everything is happening. And then after that 3 to 5 minutes, you simply take the top off and you can remove the spinning top. If you're having a little bit of trouble with it, you can grab some pliers again and you can hulk it right out. That's what I did at one point, and everything is fine. And I ended up coming out with these 3 different spinning tops. Now this one came out the best. I say this one came out the best because this peak here is the tallest and it makes it so that it can spin a lot easier. I'm thinking the reason why this happened is because I put a lot more pressure on the mold when I pressed it shut, so I was able to squeeze that filament into the tiny holes as necessary. In these, the peaks did not come out as much as the first one, and they still spin. It's just a little bit more difficult to get them to spin. So it's a little bit of trial and error, and it takes 6 grams of filament to do, which if you print a lot with your AMS, 6 grams is really nothing. So you have plenty of opportunities to try it out and get the perfect spinning top and really just nail down your process. But this is something that's really fun. It gives you the ability to take that waste and actually do something with it, as opposed to just chucking it in the garbage can. And because it works very well inside those silicone molds, you also should be able to just get a mold of a shape or something that you want and just put the filament waste inside of that mold and then just heat that up. And then if you have something to just sort of press it down so that it can conform to the shape of whatever mold you have, then you'll be able to have a cool melted multicolor filament version of that particular mold. And I saw someone over on Reddit was able to do this using some skull molds that they got on Amazon as well, and theirs came out looking pretty good. So no reason why it shouldn't work for other molds as well. But yeah, if you got a whole bunch of filament waste lying around and you got an old air fryer or something that can heat up and melt the filament that you hopefully won't need to eat out of in the future, give this a shot because they're pretty fun and they look pretty cool. So that's all for now. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon.